Hello, welcome to Learn English with Technology podcast series, episode 37, ChatGPT for writing, how to get help with essays and emails. Okay, so we've got all this stuff on ChatGPT, and, it seems like it can help us with our writing in a lot of ways. Like, I'm really kind of fascinated by this, and I'm excited to see what we can uncover as we, dive into it.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting to see how it's going from just being a simple grammar checker to, like, a real writing partner.
Yeah.
Something that can give you support throughout the whole writing process.
Okay, cool. So let's just jump right in. So first off, grammar and sentence structure. It seems like ChatGPT is a lot more than just like a spell checker.
Yeah.
It can actually help us elevate, the quality of our writing.
Right. It goes beyond, just like identifying errors, and it can actually suggest ways to improve your writing by, taking into account the context. So, for example, it can differentiate between, the singular and plural forms of collective nouns like team. Oh, okay.
So ensuring, subject-verb agreement, which can be tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you wrote, the team are planning to finish their report by Friday.
Right.
ChatGPT would actually suggest that you change it to, the team is planning to finish their report by Friday.
Interesting.
It can also help to untangle, convoluted sentences and make your writing a lot more concise and easier to understand.
Oh, that's really helpful, especially for those of us who, maybe tend to write these really long and rambling sentences sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but what about style? Can it adapt to different types of writing? Like, if you're writing a very formal essay versus like a casual email?
Absolutely. It can analyze your writing and suggest adjustments to the tone and the vocabulary to make it appropriate for the intended audience. So it can help you strike the right balance between, formality and informality, depending on whether you're writing a professional email to a colleague or a blog post, for a wider audience. Okay, that's impressive. So it sounds like, ChatGPT can help us kind of refine our writing at a very sentence-by-sentence level.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious about its capabilities for larger scale writing projects like essays. So what about brainstorming and idea generation?
Yeah.
Can ChatGPT help us when we're just facing a blank page and we have no idea where to even begin?
It can be a very valuable tool for brainstorming.
Okay.
Because it can help you break down broad topics into more manageable subtopics.
Right.
And it can also help you explore, different angles that you might not have considered on your own. So, for instance, if you were writing an essay about the impact of social media on society, ChatGPT could suggest subtopics like online privacy, the spread of misinformation, or even like the influence of social media on mental health.
That's great, because I think sometimes the hardest part is just coming up with that starting point, right?
It's
once you have a few ideas, then it's okay, now I can kind of run with it.
Yeah.
But how can ChatGPT help us structure those ideas, into a coherent essay or email or whatever it is we're writing?
So ChatGPT can help you create outlines to help you organize your thoughts. And this is particularly helpful, for essays where you need a really clear structure with an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And it can also be very useful for emails where you want to make sure that you're conveying your message in a very logical and persuasive manner.
So it can help us go from this kind of jumbled mess of ideas to a well-structured outline.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So now let's talk about, those elements that kind of guide the reader. The thesis statement and the topic sentences. How can ChatGPT help us craft really strong and effective ones?
So it can analyze your, initial attempts at writing a thesis statement or topic sentences and offer suggestions to make them more specific, focused, and impactful. So, for example, if you were writing about plastic pollution and your thesis statement was something very generic, like plastic is bad for the environment, ChatGPT might suggest revising that to, the excessive use of single-use plastics in the food industry has significantly contributed to environmental degradation.
Wow.
So you can see how that revised statement is much more specific, and it really highlights that main argument of your essay.
That's a great example, because I think, that level of refinement would make a huge difference in the overall impact of an essay.
Exactly.
So what about topic sentences? Can it help us make sure that they're effectively, introducing the main idea of each paragraph and connect back to that thesis statement?
Absolutely. It can analyze your topic sentences and suggest revisions to ensure that they're very clear, concise,
Okay.
and that they relate directly back to your thesis statement. And it can also help you vary, the structure and the wording of your topic sentences to make your writing more engaging and dynamic.
This is all starting to sound really promising.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it can be a real game changer, for people who struggle with writing. So, okay, we've brainstormed.
Yeah.
We've got our ideas. We've created an outline.
Right.
We've got a strong thesis statement, strong topic sentences. What's next?
Okay.
How can ChatGPT help us refine the actual writing, like the meat of it,
Yeah.
and make sure that our essay or email or whatever flows smoothly?
So it can actually analyze the flow of your writing
Okay.
and suggest improvements to the organization, the transitions between paragraphs. For example, it might recommend reordering paragraphs, adding transition words or phrases,
Okay.
or creating stronger links between ideas to make it a more cohesive and engaging read.
That's incredibly helpful because, sometimes I think when you're the one writing it, it's hard to, see the flaws, in your own writing.
Exactly.
Especially when you've been staring at it for too long. It's like you need that objective second pair of eyes
Yeah.
to kind of point out those areas that need improvement.
Exactly.
But can ChatGPT also help us, improve the clarity
Yeah.
and the readability of our writing?
Certainly. It can help you identify and rephrase sentences that are confusing or difficult to understand.
Okay.
And it can also suggest ways to improve the overall conciseness of your writing by, eliminating redundant words and phrases and using more precise language.
So ChatGPT can help us, tighten up our writing and make it more accessible to the reader?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. But what about things like, sentence structure and vocabulary? Can it help us make our writing more dynamic and engaging?
Definitely. It can analyze your writing for, repetitive sentence structures
Right.
and suggest variations to create a more dynamic and interesting rhythm. It can also suggest synonyms for overused words.
Okay.
So helping you expand your vocabulary and making your writing more sophisticated.
That's fantastic. So I can see, how ChatGPT can be a valuable tool for improving our writing at multiple levels. But even with all this help from, this technology, we're still human. And we're prone to making mistakes. So what about editing and proofreading?
Yeah.
Can ChatGPT help us catch those, pesky errors that we often miss?
It can be an excellent proofreader. It can identify and correct grammatical errors, spelling mistakes, punctuation issues. It can even help you maintain consistency in your writing by catching, inconsistencies in capitalization, hyphenation, use of numbers.
That's a huge relief because I think proofreading can be such a tedious task, and it's so easy to miss those errors when you've been working on something for a long time. Yeah. So having a tool that can help us catch those errors can save us a lot of time and embarrassment.
Absolutely. It's like having a second pair of eyes, carefully, going through your work and, really scrutinizing it for any potential errors.
So it can even, if you're switching between British and American English, you can kind of catch those inconsistencies too.
Exactly. Yeah. It can help you maintain a consistent style throughout your writing.
Okay. So far, it seems like ChatGPT can help us with every stage of the writing process. But before we, go into specific applications for different types of writing, I'm curious about some general best practices for using it effectively. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out with ChatGPT?
One of the most important things is to be very specific with your requests.
Okay.
The more context you give ChatGPT, the better its suggestions will be.
Right.
So instead of just saying something general like, can you help me with my essay? Try giving it more specific details like, can you suggest ways to improve the flow of my introduction? Or can you help me find stronger evidence to support my argument in the third paragraph?
That makes sense. The more information you give it, the better it can kind of understand your needs.
Exactly.
And provide tailored suggestions.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about large writing projects?
Right.
Do we feed the entire thing to ChatGPT? Or is it better to break it down into smaller sections?
It's generally more effective to break down large projects into, smaller chunks.
Okay.
Because it allows you to really focus on specific areas and get more targeted feedback from ChatGPT. And it can also help you avoid feeling, overwhelmed by all of the suggestions, and it can make the editing process more manageable.
So instead of giving ChatGPT our entire 10-page essay,
Yeah.
we should just focus on one paragraph.
Exactly.
Or one section at a time.
Yeah.
Got to work our way through it. But what about the role of ChatGPT in the overall writing process? Should we see it as like a replacement
Right.
for our own skills and effort?
It's crucial to remember that ChatGPT is a tool, not a substitute for your own writing abilities.
Okay.
It can provide very valuable assistance and insights, but it's ultimately up to you to think critically about those suggestions and make those final decisions about your writing.
So we shouldn't become like overly reliant on ChatGPT.
Right.
And forget to, use our own brain.
Exactly. You still need to be actively engaged in the writing process.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, how can we use ChatGPT to actually enhance our own writing skills?
Yeah.
And become better writers over time?
One of the best ways is to experiment and practice.
Okay.
So use it for different types of writing tasks,
Uh-huh.
play around with different prompts, and analyze the suggestions that it provides. And pay attention to how it, rephrases sentences, structures, paragraphs, uses language.
Right.
And this can help you learn new techniques and refine your own personal writing style.
So it's all about observing and learning from what it's doing.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
That's a really good point, about the continuous learning with ChatGPT. Like, the more we use it, the more we can discover its capabilities and, apply them to our own writing. But I kind of want to, dive a little deeper into some strategies to, maximize its potential. So what are some, techniques that go beyond just basic usage?
Yeah, I'm all ears. I'm always looking for tips and tricks to make my writing better, and it seems like ChatGPT has a lot to offer. So what are some of those more advanced strategies that we can use?
Well, one strategy is to use ChatGPT for sentence rewriting.
Okay.
So let's say you have a sentence that just doesn't sound quite right.
Right.
You can paste it into ChatGPT and ask for suggestions.
Uh-huh.
It might rephrase it to make it clearer, more concise, or even more impactful.
Okay, that's a fantastic idea, because sometimes you get stuck on a particular sentence and you're just like, I just can't seem to make this work the way I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of agonizing over it for hours, you could just ask ChatGPT for help.
Exactly. It can act as your personal editor, helping you polish your prose and just make sure that every sentence is as strong as it can be.
Okay.
And if you're ever confused about a grammar rule or why ChatGPT made a certain suggestion,
Right.
don't hesitate to ask for an explanation.
Okay.
It can actually break things down in simple terms so
Yeah.
you can really learn from the feedback and improve your own grammatical skills.
Okay. So, yeah, it's not just about getting a quick fix. It's about understanding why.
Exactly.
Okay. But what about larger scale organizational issues? Have you ever wished you had a template for specific types of writing,
Right.
Essays or emails?
You can actually use ChatGPT to create custom writing templates.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, if you frequently write, argumentative essays,
Right.
you could ask ChatGPT to generate a template with an introduction, thesis statement, body paragraphs for arguments and counter-arguments, and a conclusion. And then you can just plug in your own ideas and arguments.
That's incredibly helpful because,
Yeah.
I often find myself struggling to structure essays
Yeah.
in a way that makes sense and is logical and coherent.
Yeah.
So having that template to kind of guide me would make the writing process a lot smoother and less intimidating.
Exactly. It's like having a blueprint that you can follow, and it ensures that your writing is well organized and hits all the key points. And templates aren't just for essays,
Right.
You can create templates for emails, reports, presentations, any type of writing that you do on a regular basis.
Okay, that's brilliant. I'm already thinking of all the different templates I could create. That would just streamline my writing process so much. But what about tone and style?
Yeah.
Sometimes I struggle to adjust my writing depending on the audience and the purpose. Can ChatGPT help with that?
Definitely. It can assist with, tone and style adjustments. So, for example, if you need to write a very formal email to a client, you can ask ChatGPT to help you maintain that professional tone.
Uh-huh.
Or if you're writing a more casual blog post, you can, ask it to help you sound more conversational and engaging. It's like having a built-in style guide that can help you adapt to different contexts.
Okay. That would be really valuable because, sometimes you second guess yourself, especially when you're writing for a new audience or something.
Yeah.
So having ChatGPT to give you that guidance and feedback would make you a lot more confident.
Exactly.
Okay. So Let's talk about something that, a lot of writers just dread, and that is research and citation.
Right.
It's so time-consuming and tedious. Can ChatGPT actually help us with that?
So while it shouldn't replace, thorough research,
Okay.
ChatGPT can definitely assist you in the research and citation process. So it can suggest, reliable sources, it can help you find key information, and it can even guide you on proper citation formats, whether it's MLA, APA, or Chicago style.
Oh, wow. That would save so much time because I always get bogged down in the details and making sure I'm formatting the citations correctly.
Yeah.
So having that help would free up more time for actual writing and analysis.
Exactly. And it can also help you summarize research findings,
Oh, okay.
which can be really helpful when you're dealing with a lot of information. So you can ask ChatGPT to, provide a concise summary of an article or a chapter in a book.
Right.
And that can save you a lot of time and effort from, having to read through the entire text.
That's a great feature because I often, you kind of get lost in the weeds when you're doing research.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have ChatGPT there to kind of pull out the key information and summarize things for you.
Right.
Would make it so much more efficient. Okay, so, and let's not forget about editing and proofreading.
Yes.
So, can ChatGPT help us refine our writing, catch those little sneaky errors that we miss?
ChatGPT can be a valuable tool for editing and proofreading. Think of it as that second set of eyes, carefully going over your work.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just spotting, typos or grammatical errors. It can actually suggest improvements to sentence structure, word choice, and even the overall flow of your writing.
Okay, that's really cool. So it can help us take it to that next level.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about writer's block? I mean, I think we've all been there.
Right.
You sit down to write and you just can't think of anything. Can ChatGPT help us get our creative juices flowing again?
It can actually be surprisingly helpful for overcoming writer's block.
Oh, okay.
You can ask ChatGPT for creative prompts or suggestions to get your ideas flowing.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you're stuck on how to start your essay introduction.
Yeah.
You could ask ChatGPT for an engaging opening sentence or a thought-provoking question to kind of hook your reader.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great idea. It's like having a brainstorming partner on demand.
Exactly.
Whenever you need a little inspiration. Okay, so now that we've kind of covered some of those, advanced strategies, let's kind of look at how ChatGPT can be applied to specific types of writing. So let's start with academic writing, because I think that's something that a lot of our listeners are probably, familiar with.
Yeah. So ChatGPT is a game changer for academic writing.
Okay.
It can help with essays, research papers, theses, dissertations, you name it.
Right.
Imagine being able to ask for a detailed essay outline based on your topic, and then having ChatGPT help you flesh out each section with, relevant content, summaries of research, and even properly formatted citations.
That would be amazing. It would take a lot of the stress out of writing those research papers.
Yeah.
And allow students to really focus on developing their ideas and their arguments.
Yeah. Right.
Instead of getting bogged down in the technical aspects of writing.
Exactly. It can also help you refine your arguments and make sure that your writing is very clear, concise, and persuasive, which are all essential for academic success.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what about professional writing? Things like emails, proposals, reports.
Yeah.
How can ChatGPT help us kind of navigate the specific demands of those genres?
So professional writing often demands a very specific tone and style.
Right.
And ChatGPT can be a great guide for that. So let's say you need a concise subject line for an email. ChatGPT can help you with that. Or you want to make sure that your business proposal is structured in a way that's very persuasive. Okay. ChatGPT can offer suggestions. It can even help you present data very clearly in a report so your key findings really stand out.
Okay, so it sounds like it could be a real asset,
Yeah.
in the workplace, helping professionals to communicate more effectively.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about content creation, because that's a huge field that's growing rapidly. Yeah. So how can ChatGPT help, content creators produce high quality, engaging content?
It's a fantastic tool for content creation. So imagine having help generating, blog post topics, and then having ChatGPT suggest like relevant subheadings and content to keep your readers engaged.
Okay.
For social media, it can help you craft those catchy captions that fit each platform's style. And for website copy, it can help you write really clear, concise, and persuasive content that can convert visitors into customers.
Wow. So it can do everything from like coming up with those catchy headlines to optimizing your content for search engines?
Exactly.
Okay, this is amazing. But what about creative writing?
Yeah.
Can ChatGPT help us like tap into our imaginations
Right.
and create, stories, poems, scripts?
Absolutely. It can be a real inspiration booster.
Okay.
So whether you're working on a short story, a novel, a script, or even poetry, ChatGPT can help you brainstorm ideas, develop characters, and even experiment with different styles.
Okay.
So, if you're feeling stuff on a scene, ask ChatGPT for a plot twist suggestion.
Right.
Or if you're struggling to come up with a rhyme for your poem, ChatGPT can offer a list of options.
Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I hadn't even really thought about using it for creative writing,
Yeah.
but now I'm like seeing all these different possibilities. It's like having a muse on demand.
Exactly.
But, what about more personal writing, like letters, journal entries, resumes?
Yeah.
Can ChatGPT help us with those types of writing as well?
It can. ChatGPT can help you express yourself more clearly and effectively in your personal writing.
Okay.
So it can help you, articulate your thoughts and feelings in a letter or journal entry. And for resumes, it can help you really showcase your skills and experience
Right.
in a way that's going to catch the eye of potential employers.
Okay, so we've seen how it can be applied to all these different types of writing.
Yeah.
From, academic essays to creative stories to professional emails. It's really an incredibly versatile tool.
It is. And it's important to remember that ChatGPT isn't just about generating text.
Okay.
It's about improving your writing.
Right.
So use it as a partner to help you brainstorm, refine, and learn new techniques. And don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with different prompts and see what works best for you.
Yeah, it's not about replacing our own skills.
Yeah.
It's about kind of enhancing them.
Exactly.
With the help of this, powerful tool. Okay, but with all this talk about, like, the benefits of ChatGPT, we do need to acknowledge that there are also some potential challenges and limitations.
Right.
But what are some of the things that we need to be aware of when using ChatGPT?
You're absolutely right. No tool is perfect, and ChatGPT is no exception.
Right.
One of the challenges is that ChatGPT can sometimes generate text that is factually inaccurate or biased.
Oh, okay.
So it's pulling information from this massive data set, but that data isn't always perfect.
Right.
So it's really important to fact check anything that ChatGPT gives you, especially if you're using it for research or writing about sensitive topics.
So we can't just blindly trust everything that it generates.
Right. You still need to use your own judgment and critical thinking skills to evaluate the information and ensure that it's accurate and reliable.
Okay, that's a really important point.
Yeah.
What else?
Another challenge is that ChatGPT can sometimes generate text that is repetitive or even nonsensical.
Oh, okay.
This is often due to the way that it's trained on these language patterns. So it's always important to carefully review and edit anything that ChatGPT produces. Don't just, copy and paste without thinking critically about whether it makes sense and if it fits the context of your writing.
So yeah, we need to treat it as like a partner in the writing process.
Right.
Not a replacement for our own brains. We still have to be actively engaged.
Exactly.
And make sure that the final product is something that we're happy with and that we're proud of.
Exactly. Now, despite these challenges, it's clear that ChatGPT is a very powerful tool, and it has the potential to really change the way we write. And it's still evolving, It's likely that future versions will become even more sophisticated and capable.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about, what the future holds for this technology and how it's going to continue to shape the way we write and communicate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty wild frontier to think about, But I think before we get too carried away, thinking about the future, maybe we should just, pause for a second and think about, the ethical implications of a tool like this.
Yeah, that's a really important point that I think we shouldn't overlook. Like, with any new powerful technology, there are always ethical considerations.
Right.
So what are some of the potential ethical concerns, surrounding the use of ChatGPT for writing?
Well, one concern is the potential for plagiarism. As ChatGPT becomes more sophisticated, it might become easier for students or writers to pass off AI-generated text as their own. And this, obviously raises some questions about academic integrity and, the value of original thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really highlights like the importance of educating people about, you know, responsible AI usage.
Right.
Like we need to make sure that people understand that ChatGPT is a tool to assist with writing. It's not meant to like replace the effort and the originality that's required for, authentic work.
Exactly. Another concern is the potential for bias.
Yep.
So because ChatGPT is trained on this massive amount of data, it can sometimes inadvertently perpetuate, existing biases that are present in that data.
Right.
And this could lead to the creation of content that is, discriminatory or that reinforces, harmful stereotypes.
Yeah, that's a really critical point. And I think it, underscores the need for ongoing research and development to address this issue of bias in AI systems. Like we need to make sure that these tools are promoting fairness and inclusivity.
Right.
And not, kind of making those existing inequalities worse.
Exactly. And then, we also need to be mindful of the potential impact of, AI on the job market.
Oh, yeah.
As AI writing tools become, more and more advanced, they could potentially automate certain writing tasks, which could lead to, concerns about job displacement for human writers.
That's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
And it highlights the need for, people to adapt and to kind of upskill,
right,
within the writing profession. Like maybe writers need to focus more on areas that require, uniquely human skills.
Right.
Like, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, things like that.
Exactly. And I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for, good or for bad.
Right.
It's really up to us as the users and the developers to ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly.
Yeah.
To enhance human capabilities, not diminish them.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay, so I think that's a really important message to keep in mind as we kind of explore this whole, world of AI for writing.
Yeah.
It's really up to us to shape the future of this technology and make sure that it's being used to serve humanity in a positive and ethical way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so kind of shifting gears a little bit here. I want to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, like the broader implications of AI for the future of writing. So how do you see AI shaping the way we write and communicate in the years to come?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's really fascinating to think about all the possibilities. I think AI will continue to become more and more integrated into our writing workflows, helping us to write more efficiently, more creatively and more effectively. I think we might even see AI-powered tools that can personalize writing suggestions based on our individual style, our preferences, even our moods.
Wow, yeah, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Like imagine an AI writing assistant that can sense when you're feeling stuck or uninspired and offer tailored prompts or suggestions to kind of help you get back on track.
Exactly. It would be like having your own personal writing coach,
Right.
Available whenever you need it. Yeah.
But beyond those individual benefits, how do you see AI influencing the overall writing landscape?
I think AI has this real potential to kind of democratize writing.
Okay.
Making it more accessible to people who might have struggled with more traditional writing methods. So, imagine AI-powered tools that can help people with dyslexia or other learning disabilities to express themselves more easily. Or, tools that can translate ideas across different languages, seamlessly.
Yeah, that's a powerful vision. And it really aligns with this idea of, AI augmenting human capabilities rather than replacing them.
Right.
It's about empowering people to communicate more effectively and share their stories and ideas with the world.
Exactly. And as AI continues to evolve, I think we might even see the emergence of entirely new forms of writing and storytelling.
Okay.
So, imagine interactive narratives that are powered by AI where the reader's choices actually shape the course of the story.
Right.
Or, AI-generated poetry that can evoke emotions in ways that, traditional poetry just can't.
Yeah, those are some mind-blowing possibilities. It's so exciting to think about how AI could push those boundaries of creativity and open up new avenues for artistic expression.
It's a really dynamic and evolving field. And as AI continues to advance, I'm confident that we're going to see even more innovative and groundbreaking applications,
Yeah.
for writing and communication.
Okay, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we yeah.
From the very practical, nuts and bolts of using
Oh,
ChatGPT
yeah.
to those broader, ethical and societal implications of AI for writing.
Right.
It's been a really fascinating and thought-provoking conversation.
I agree. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Yeah, likewise.
And I hope our listeners have, gained a deeper understanding of how AI is transforming the world of writing and how they can use this technology to, really enhance their own writing abilities.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Is it?
So I think this deep dive has really equipped our listeners with, some valuable insights and inspiration to embark on their own writing adventures.
Right.
With the help of AI. So as we wrap up this episode, what final thoughts would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, I would encourage everyone to just embrace the possibilities of AI for writing.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to experiment, explore new tools, and really discover how AI can help you, unlock your own creative potential. And as you do that, remember to use it responsibly, ethically, and always with the goal of, enhancing your own writing skills and sharing your own unique voice with the world.
That's a great message. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into ChatGPT for writing.
My pleasure.
We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and thought-provoking. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Thanks for listening.